I think he said it all. I might as well go home. I'm supposed to sit down, but I don't think I can talk very well sitting down. I'm going to begin by inviting questions, because I've talked here before, and I find out that there's always people have a lot of questions, and when I get to give a talk, I don't stop, so they can't interpose their question. So you might be interested, maybe some people will not know what Zen is, or whether it's important or unimportant, and if you've read anything on it and you're curious about the procedures, why, I'll leave it open for questions. So that, I think it's a good way to communicate. Confrontation is everybody has a conception, and the conception is colored by the family you are born into, the country you're born into, the religion you're practicing, and as a result of that, there's a lot of fiction sometimes develop, because the majority of people may not agree with you, meaning their attitude is that you're either wrong or they're wrong. So because of that, if a student comes in and he says, I'd like to have the truth, then you find out if he can stand the truth, if he knows what it's about. And the only way you can get him to know what it's about is to question him. And that's confrontation.
But you know, a lot of times when you hear about people who go into, and I've talked to friends who've gone to psychologists and counselors, therapists, psychotherapists, there are all kinds of names for them depending on the level of education.
Brother, how vulgar you want to be with the names.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. This lecture is going to be fun, I can just imagine. One of the things that I always hear them say is that they keep expressing their ideas, and I've heard that the psychologist will say something like, well, how do you feel about that? And what they're doing is they're this catalyst. They're making that person think and turn inward, or it sounds like that's what I'm getting from friends who, psychologists don't give opinions and say, you should do this, you should do that.
I don't doubt a bit. There could be psychological systems. If you question the sick person enough, I'm reminded of a saying by an old Zen master, which surprised me when I read it. Someone approached him and he said, how do you deal with possession? See, possession isn't handled by our psychologists. They're frightened by it, I believe. But he said, I challenge it. I keep questioning it. And I mean, you question any consciousness or entity, it will eventually have to answer you or leave. And that's the Zen technique for everything, to bring about the supreme mental state that you need. In other words, what we're doing is 24 hours a day we're wrapped up in not in facts or not in our definition. We don't define ourselves. People don't know who they are. And it seems like it's impossible, because very few people ever find out who they are. In other words, they know they're a body, but they don't know if they have a soul. They're not defined, see? I've read all about the neurotransmitters, and they are not touching it. They are not touching it. The soul is not the brain. Modern psychology says that the brain is all we have, and the brain has reactions, and that's our personality showing itself as brain reactions. You'll find out that's not true. I'm going to open this up. I didn't want to tie up too much time. But this is the relationship of the human soul to a thing that is called the absolute soul. Now, you can give other names to this, but this is the brain. See, this is the brain, down here's the body, and it's surrounded by what I call the Atman. This is the Atman. This is the human soul, the individual soul that walks with. He goes. It doesn't stay here. It stays with him in his body, or close to his body. So it isn't. It's detached from the eternal soul. And so this is the this is what happens. Now, when death occurs, this is where you find yourself. The body's gone. There is no death. There is no death. But there may be a dark period in which you don't know where you are. There's only one absolute for the whole human race. There's only one absolute enlightenment. But the road, the hell they go through before is what is different. Now, I can tell you what you discover. That's the reason I made this thing up here. You know, the soul, the human soul, is in that. I drew that circle. It looks just like a crayon, but it's the best way I can figure. The human soul doesn't die, but it enters a larger soul. It enters a larger soul, and you're not disillusioned by any chance that you own the place when you get there. See what I mean? But this is the equivalent. We can use the word God. It's rather loosely, because no one shows up and says, I'm God. But you enter a larger soul dimension, and within that realm, you have power and activity. But what goes on after that, I didn't stay that long. See?
So, discovering
our soul merges with another soul, which we call God. But it is, the physical you acquires nothing. But the person itself, that is the observer, is that which finds reality, and when it finds reality, then this game that we played, the body we left behind, are insignificant. Doesn't matter that much. Nobody knows there's life after death. They may say they believe it, but believing is talking to yourself and trying to convince yourself. Knowing it is something else. Knowing means you've got to walk across and back. You can't have preconceptions. This is the trouble. The reason people are not getting enlightened is because religion, all these religions are telling people to believe. You got it made. Just believe. You got it made. Nonsense. They haven't found out anything. See? Believe me, I've stuck my nose very deeply into the Christian religion.
what makes you believe that you went out of your body and came back again?
My mind was with me. My physical memory was still with me. And this is important, because if the mind, the brain is just a flob of flesh, you go unconscious. There's no way of regaining your consciousness if it's locked into this flesh alone. So that's the reason I put the one circle inside the other. The human mind has to go across. He has whole being has to be inside the soul of what we call God. We use that word God because we don't know, but we know we're encapsulated in something greater. And we can only operate within its environments, same as we can only operate in this place. You know, that's the reason when people were talking about trying to change people, make them, I think it's a waste of time, because there's a bigger burden up ahead, and that's each man saving themselves. I just decided to use the rest of my life up, and I believe this is a commodity that is so rare that if a person does experience it, they should try to find a few people. There's very few people that go this far. And my idea is to, I believe that this is the true humanity. The true humanity is the mother helps the child, see? And we have to try to bring a better child into the earth than what we were. You know, a smarter child, a more aware of things. But if you do that, well, then you're going to try to get the best situation for that child. And the same way with the man. The man sees that he's brought people into the earth to die. That's all, just to die. There's no hope. There's no real proof. We can guess. We can hypnotize ourselves with all those suggestions ad infinitum. See, call on 1,000 saints for witnesses, but we know nothing and we die stupid. So when there's a chance that a person can be awake, this is what's more important.
Are you a positivist?
I don't know. How do you
feel about positivism?
Negatively.
Why does sex seem to be an obstacle in everyone's road to truth?
You mean no, you never sensed that?
Pardon?
You've never sensed that? You think?
Yeah, I'm asking why though. Why does that one thing seem to be a distraction?
Somebody tell him.
What is it about it that makes it so powerful in that sense?
It makes your function is reproduction, producing fertilizers for the earth. You have no children. Once you raise your children, you'll think that's my kid. Oh, what a beautiful baby. 20 years later, you'll say, what the hell is this? And you realize you've been a door. You're a door through which that child comes.
Don't you feel that like an attempt to be a vegetarian is an effort to act compassionately towards other living things?
You can tie it together if you wish, but I think the main reason you do it, if you're philosophic, is you do it to clear up your brain, your mind, so to speak, so that you can think better. You do things to. I understand that people that eat meat don't have the patience to think along certain lines that a vegetarian has, and I'm not arguing with that. See?
Don't you think that there's a spiritual feeling to know that you're not behaving violently towards other living things?
No.
You don't think that?
No, we're not. We are not. There's nothing spiritual about not killing. There's nothing spiritual about not killing.
Is it possible to act compassionately then and live?
We should shoot the cat because it kills a mouse. See? Huh?
Can you act compassionately and choose to live as a bourgeois pig or as someone who's totally consumptive without any awareness of what their consumption does to other people who have to sacrifice to provide the things that they
I don't know if everybody in this world is a bourgeois pig then, because we take a piece out of somebody every day, and you people are all studying for a profession to learn how to clip people for enormous amounts of money. See? So is that a bourgeois pig? No. What I'm saying about this business of killing, you have to. If you've got rats running around your house and they bite one of your children, he's liable to get a disease. See, so we can't weigh everything in terms of killing. But it's the idea is that we do not kill. God kills. We do not kill. We're damn lucky to do anything. Stuff is just thrown in front of us every day, and we react the best we can. But I'm saying to get down and say make a law that you can't kill this or that, or at one time you could only kill ones with a cloven hoofs. It's perfectly all right. Ones with a horse hoof, don't kill them. See, this don't make any sense, and yet we kill each other. Don't kid yourself about brutality. The human race is the most brutal killer on the face of the earth, and he maybe has to do it to survive. Huh? Refine. Refinement is a definition that you're picking for yourself. All of us don't know refinement. Some guy, might be covered over with ulcers or chancres or God knows what, but he still may be a spiritual person. We can't. Holy people are not beautiful. They paint pictures with halos around them, but we don't. They may have been very ugly. See, they may not have been refined. See. In other words, what you're saying, why can't we be nice? Well, what do you mean by nice? Nothing's nice. That's a block to your spiritual training because of the simple fact that you're defining it in advance. You're defining something you don't have yet as being beautiful and spiritual and all this sort of thing. You don't know what that type of behavior will take you, especially when it seems like the people that make the greatest strides are those that suffer the most because they're egos. It takes a tremendous ego.